welcome to the studio. So today I thought we would paint a seagull. I live by the sea, lots of seagulls around here. I love painting them. I did a little test painting real quick. This is what I came up with from this picture. I'm hoping that we can kind of duplicate this. I'm going to show you how I do it right now. But first, before we get into that, let me show you what I'm using today. This is my Strathmore watercolor pad, 120 pound, 6x12, just gives a nice aspect ratio. I'm going to use my own M.Graham mix of paints here. You've seen me use these before. Here they are. Here's my color card. I'm just going to hang this up in front of me so I can tell you what we're using. Let me see if I can get just about everything on camera here so we can tell what we're doing. And let's get, oh, one more thing. I'm using today ZenArt paint brushes. Oops, I almost forgot to get my water. Let me set it off to the side. There we go. My ZenArt paint brushes. I'm going to use 3, I think, maybe today. I'm going to start by using, what do I have here? Number 5. And this is how I'm going to start this guy. I'm looking at this picture, and I see he's got a lot of ochre or ochre-ish color on him. I'm going to start with that. I'm going to mix up just a nice loose wet bit of ochre color and just drop that on here just like that. We're going to come back and we'll cover that up and we'll add to it and we'll do some other stuff, but I want to get that on there nice warm, like that's the reflection coming up off the sand onto his chest there, or hers. I don't know how you tell if it's a boy seagull or a girl seagull. I really don't have any idea. I'm gonna get a little bit of Payne's gray out here. Let's see, Payne's gray is this one, and a little ultramarine, which is 1, 2, 3, which is this one, I believe. Yep, that's it. Gonna mix those a little bit. That's gonna be the basis for some color back here. There we go. I'm just going to drop this on, and I'm not trying to get super specific with this right now. I'm just laying in some colors. We're going to come back and we're going to tweak this a little bit later on. Maybe a little darker gray in here. There we go. Something like that. I'm just putting this right on where his wings are, her wings are. There we go. If we get a little bit that bleeds down right in there, so be it. We're not going to sweat it. I'm going to let it go. There we go. I think that looks pretty good right there. And I'm going to mix a little bit of my ochre color and a little bit of my gray color. I'm going to make this really... In fact, I'm going to change brushes now. I'm changed down to a number 2. Just a really light little something here. And I want to come onto his head, right around his eye. And I want to hit that, and I'm going to blend that out a little bit. Maybe this one wasn't the best choice of brushes for me. There we go. I think I got it. I don't want a hard edge on that. But if you look in the picture here, there's a good part of his head that's in shadow. Not the top, but just on the side here. And I want to try to replicate that a little bit. I don't have enough bristles on that. Let me go back to my number 5 here. This one holds a lot more water. There we go. I just want to blend that out, way out. There we go. If I get a little bit down here too, that's okay. In fact, we're going to come back and we're going to put some on down here in just a second. While I'm waiting for that, I'm going to mix up, let's see, what do I got? We'll do a little bit of burnt umber, a little bit of our yellow ochre, and maybe just a touch of blue in there. I'll grab it from up there. I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to put that in here for his beak. There it is. There's his beak. And what else do I want to do? I'm going to use a little bit of our wing color up here. And this is already dry for me. I'm going to just give it a little shot down here with a little bit of that gray, with just a touch of ochre in, just a tiniest little touch of ochre in that. I'm going to blend that out just a little bit. There you go. And I'm trying to look, I wanted to make this one nice big easy arc here, but it's not really. If we look at this picture, this color comes in, this shadow, maybe you should do it over here. This shadow comes in really pretty straight right across his bottom down here. We're gonna flesh that out down here in just a second. I'm gonna go back to my number 2 brush. I know I'm jumping all over. It's been a while since I've been painting in the studio. I think I'm a little overexcited about it. There we go. I'm just gonna, this is just straight Payne's gray. And I'm making his black tail here. If I get it all in there just right, whatever just right is, perfect. If it doesn't look, you know, I'm just leaving a little jagged edge here so that it looks like one feather is ending and the other is starting. There we go. I think that's pretty good. We're going to come back and add more onto that. All right, what do we want to do here? I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take just a little bit of our ice ochre here, nothing else mixed in it, and I'm going to give just a bit of color to his eye. We're going to go back over top of that too and put in his pupil, but he's got just around the edges, just ever so little bit of what looks like an ochre to me there. So I'm going to take a little bit more of my gray, mix it in with our previously mixed up ochre color. I'm going to fill in the bottom of his beak here. There we go. Let him go just like that. I'm going to go back to my little bit bigger brush. How's our wing doing? Our wing is not quite dry. I don't want to do too much with that yet. But what I am going to do is I'm going to get our wing color here, our gray blue mixture. I'm kind of using that for our, I ran just a little bit there, our shadow on his body here. And I'm going to come down a little bit like this. I'm going to add, it's going to be here, and then I'm going to smooth this out. It's going to be a bunch of this is going to go away, but I want it to give a little bit of shadow and a little bit of shape to his head. There we go. And right underneath his beak, with a little bit darker spot. So I'm going to use that same color, but just a little bit more intense. Let's see if I can give it a little shot right underneath there. Like that. That's pretty good. And then I can pull that out. Just like that. There we go. Now I'm going to come back to his beak. I'll take my ochre color, put in a little bit of burnt umber, Just, don't need much. Come on, Umber. I know you want to get in there. Just a little bit of our blue mixture. I'm going to add a couple of little details in here. I want to leave the top of his beak here a little bit lighter than the bottom of his beak. Got a little too much on there. Just going to take a little bit off. There we go. You can see that pretty nicely. I'm going to come back in just a second and add a black line to his beak there. How's our wing doing? Oh, our wing is just about dry. So let's come in with a little bit more of the Payne's Gray, a little bit darker on the Payne's Gray, just a touch of our blue. And what I want to do, I might need a little finer brush than this one. Let me see what I've got here. I've got a number 3. This will probably work nicely. Let's grab a little bit of that. I want to give like a line of demarcation down here. Here's where his wing is. Just like that. I'll let that come out. And I'm going to do the same thing where I see his feathers and his wing up here. Just going to add a little bit of detail. There we go. And I'm going to blend that out just ever so slightly. Good, 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 good. Just like that. I can add a little bit more up here, I think. This is where you got to play it by ear, or by eye, as it turns out. And just add what you think you need. Add just enough to give that wing, well, I'm way off the page, give that wing some interest, some personality in there, but not so much that it looks overworked. Right? We don't want to do too much to it. I'm going to come back and just re-darken our Payne's Gray here on the tail. If I don't get every bit of it, I'm not going to worry about it. Because they're feathers. They're not supposed to be smooth or perfect or anything like that. There we go. And now I've got a decision to make here. I can darken this up underneath, or I can let it stay the way it is. I think I'm going to darken it. I'm just going to take ultramarine and put it right into my ochre. I'm going to try it this way. See how it goes. I want to darken right up there. There we go. Now I don't want it to go exactly to our wing. If it gets there a little bit, that's fine. But I don't want it to quite touch. I want just a little bit of break in between his belly underneath here and his wing, so that you can see a little light next to dark. It's going to make that wing seem like it's up a little bit more, maybe, you know, a little more three-dimensional. And I'm going to take the same color and I'm going to drop it back here. It's really light, and what I'm hoping to do is push his back behind his neck just ever so slightly. There we go. Just like that. I'm going to take my Payne's Gray and give him a little bit of an eye. Looks like my ochre was maybe a little too light. There we go, there's his eye. Now I'm looking at him, I need to do a little bit more to define his head, but I'm going to give that Payne's Gray there just a second to dry up before I do that. And he's got a black little bit on his beak here. Something like that. I got a little too much on it. There it is. There we go. Some nice black on there. Now while I'm waiting for his eye, while I'm waiting for that to get done, I'm going to come down here and I'm going to paint a leg. I'm going back to my ochre color. It doesn't match his body exactly, and that's okay, because you can see it's going to touch right now. It's a little wet. It's going to touch and go right in there. Actually, I shouldn't have done that. I just accidentally touched the page. And I'm going to mix up a little bit of leg color for him, leg color for lack of anything else. So I'm working in with some maroon here. What should I put in maroon? I'm going to keep our color pretty constant. I'm going to put a little yellow ochre in there. And let's see how we do. He's taking a nice step right there. And in the back, you can see his webbed foot. Alright, I'm going to, while I'm waiting for his legs now, I'm going to take one more stab at these wings. Come on, Payne's Gray. His wing looks a little washed out to me. I'm going to set this edge with it a little bit darker. There we go. And some of this area back here. I'm sorry, I just turned that a little bit. There. Now he's looking better. Put a little bit of a line in there. Maybe I pulled it a little bit too hard last time. I don't know. I think it's looking a lot better right now. I'm actually going to darken the shadow on the side of his head here a little bit. Going to give him, I think, a little bit more. I don't know, I always think of seagulls as they're fun, neat birds, but they're always a little bit, I don't know, it's sinister's not the right word, but mischievous maybe. They're always just a little bit mischievous. So I'm always looking to find a look, make him look maybe just a little bit more like he's gotten into a little bit of trouble. I think maybe that'll do it. Darken that shadow area up. Just put it on a little bit of extra color. It's very light. I just want to put it on the top side of his head as it goes across to give it a little bit of roundness. You can see right in here it's still pretty light, and I think what I'm going to do is give one more little bit of shadow right down here. Let's just darken that up one more time. And now I need a little bit of red, just tip of it at the end of his beak. Going back with our same color, just going to add, not even details really. I guess they are details, but just a little bit of a line there. And I think we're about done with this guy. We could continue to poke and prod and do little things here and little things there. I'm just adding a little bit of my yellow right around his eye there that I missed. I didn't miss it. It lightened a little bit too much for me last time. There we go, that's got it. I could even darken his eye a little bit more. Actually, I'll wait till that's fully dry up there to do that. And if we wanted to, we could add a little bit of color around him. Maybe we should do that. Let's see, what can we do? Let's do a little bit of... What am I doing here? Cobalt blue on the top side. I'm sorry, I have to flip this around a little bit. Let me push it back so you can see what I'm doing. What's this blue? Cobalt and turquoise. Really what I want to do is not get one solid color out here. I want a mix of colors. I want it pretty light, if I can manage to do that. Let's see, this is cobalt. That's pretty light. It's a light color, and of course I'm mixing it with a lot of water here too. I don't want to take away from this guy. I want him to be the star of the painting. I just want him to be surrounded with a little something. There we go. And I'm going to blend that down into, oh, I don't know, let's stay with our gray brown. What am I doing here? Let's go with a little brown, maybe some, he's running on the beach here, huh? So let's give him a little bit of sandy-ish color here. We know what color sand is. Sand is a lot of different colors. I got a little heavy-handed with it here. I want to thin that out quite a bit. His legs are so skinny and small, I don't want them to be overtaken. And I'm doing this on purpose up here. I want those colors to fuse into one. I want it to be really light and just blend right into one another. There we go, and I'm hoping to do the same thing over here. I need to re-wet this just a little bit. Keep that edge wet. Come over here with quite a lot of water. There we go. Where's my sand color? This is just going to blend in one color to another. Like I said, a lot of water. It's going to make this background, when it dries, it's going to lighten up, and it's going to be very light. And that's exactly what we want. We don't want it to take away at all from our bird. There we go. And I need to let that dry for just a second. I got a little bit of white up here I don't want. See if I can just nip that. Maybe I can put even a little touch of that blue up there. Oh, that's nice. There we go. Okay, so while I'm doing that, I'm going to touch up his eye, and Hopefully this will dry down here. We'll be able to put just a little bit of a shadow there. We'll see how that's going to go in just a second. There we go. Touched up his eye. I don't know if you can tell on the picture. I did leave a little white speck in there. And here is, excuse me, here's our little guy running on the beach. Let me pause the tape for just a second while I dry this. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. It's all dry. I think he's looking pretty good. What I want to do now is give just the indication of some shadow down here. Shadows are hard. We need to follow the right lines to make it look right. Luckily, we have a nice guide here. So our foot in the front is going to come back this way, and our foot in the back is going to go that way. I'm going to mix up. Let's do it over here. I'm going to use our gray that we've already got going here. I'm going to mix in some of our beach color. Just get a nice neutral gray. Not very strong one way or another. And let's see if we can do this. Be brave, be brave. A little too much water on there. Actually, it's pretty easy here because it's just a simple line. And here going the opposite direction. And there we go. There's our shadow. By the time you get this framed, nobody will see that these meet down at the bottom. Alright, anyway, I like him. I think it turned out great. I hope you enjoyed painting a seagull with me. I enjoyed having you here in the studio again at long last. Thanks for joining me. Join me again next time as I do another painting. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.